What's going on, everyone? Conservative Video Dipper here. If you got a dip, pack a lip. If not, I got one for you. Dipping on Grizzly Long Cut Wintergreen. Let's talk about comments and the difference between free speech and hate speech and alleged threats. Now, this isn't really going directly towards anyone that has done anything recently towards me, but we're talking about it because of some of the things I have seen and heard people say about Charlie Kirk and his family. That's really disgusting. It makes me almost want to vomit of nauseation and disgust in humanity, because is this really what we are now? So I'll give you okay comments. For example, I had a comment. Somebody said, conservative doesn't have a chin. Well, of course I have a chin, silly. What is this? Is that a chin? No, that's not a butt cheek. That's a chin. Right. Okay. And then somebody also commented about my flag behind me, how allegedly I can't be a patriot while I have this flag behind me. Again, I think you're really misinformed, my friend. Very misinformed. You might want to do some research before you start speaking. And then somebody said that I was a parody. Well, of course, when I'm doing Dip Boss, that is a parody. That is a parody of Bob Ross. That's me having fun and just entertaining people. That is an example of parody. Me doing news is not a parody. That's me doing my job, being honest and direct with you people about what's going on. Now, I'll give you an example of hate speech. There was some vile, vicious creature, I'm not even going to say she's a human, that Mark Dice played on his video, that a woman making alleged threats towards Charlie Kirk's wife and his two kids. That is hate speech. That is threatening. That should never be allowed. And why should it never be allowed? Because that is threatening someone's life. That is illegal. So there's a very fine line between free speech and hate speech. Hate speech, when you say things online that are going to be facetious, condescending, or malicious with facetious intent, that can be seen as hate speech, defacement, things like that, right? That's illegal. And yes, the FBI does take that very seriously. And by the way, we do want to say a quick hi to the boys and girls in Arlington. Hi, boys and girls. Hope you have a good weekend, or have a good Monday, good week, and keep doing what you do. So, whether you are posting a comment or you're posting something and you're saying something, be mindful about what you say online, because it can possibly come back to bite you in the butt badly. Especially that vile creature, or these vile creatures that are celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. That's vile. That's ugly. That's just not humane in any way, shape, or form. That is ungodly. Very ungodly. So when it comes down to whether you, again, say things or you make a comment, be mindful that you should probably stop, think, before you type or speak or act on something. Because sometimes if you don't, you can get in very big trouble. And we don't want that for anyone. No one. And sometimes these actions have consequences. Now, you're probably wondering, conservative, what kind of consequences? Well, you could go to jail, you could get sued for defacement, You could go to prison for alleged threatening, etc., etc., etc. Now, we're no judge or jury by any means. We don't act like one. We don't pretend to be one. We don't claim to be one over here. But legally, we do know what is right and wrong and what can be said and cannot be said. And hate speech cannot be said. Well, you're probably wondering, what about the alleged transphobia stuff that conservatives allegedly put out? Would that allegedly be considered hate speech? Depends on what's being said. There's a very big difference. If somebody's saying that, for example, person A wants to be turned into a girl or a guy, but we know that is not really true. We know what that is, and we know for a fact that they won't ever be that. That's not hate speech. That's called common sense knowledge, given knowledge, speaking truth, and using clarity and saying words with clarity to address the topic without being hateful and spiteful and bigoted towards anyone. But that's not really transphobia. That's just, again, an example of truth speaking. When somebody makes allegations like the vile creatures that are allegedly claiming that Charlie Kirk allegedly deserved what he got, that's not free speech. That is hate speech. We don't allow it. Again, on here, we don't allow it here. We should not allow it anywhere at all. Hate speech has no place in our hearts, nor should it have any place in our hearts. But it does to a lot of facetious, evil, vindictive people. Like the person that Mark Dice was talking about, that said some of these things and addressed these things. Now, Mark Dice himself never said any of these things. Let me clear that up for you. Again, Mark Dice never said any of these things. He was reporting on what other people said about Charlie Kirk and his family that were very facetious and horrible. Well, that could also bring us into the topic of what would I consider people doing, taking screenshots of people's Facebook account that show where they work and telling people to call their work. Would that allegedly be doxing or hate speeching? No. In my personal opinion, that is not doxing, nor is that hate speech. That is addressing a situation that these people that want to make comments that are vile, inhumane, and facetious, condescending, and really bad, and it is hate speech, to have their work be addressed with the situation that their workers are saying such things online, and they should not be saying such things online. That's not doxing. That's addressing the situation. There is a difference between doxing. I have been doxed before. But I got that taken care of a long time ago, thanks to the FBI. Thank you, guys and gals, for doing that. And the techies over there, too. Thank you. And doxing is illegal. Just like making threats, alleged threats, towards Charlie Kirk's family. That's illegal. But at the same time, though, it still doesn't matter what side politically, religiously, or what you believe in. What matters is that you don't do those things. You got to stop and think before you do it. Because actions do have consequences. If you do bad actions, there are going to be consequences for what you do and what you say. And sometimes those consequences can allegedly be put in the category of you go around, you find out, which is true. That is kind of the game. You F around, you find out. You say stupid things, you're going to find out what happens. Whether the FBI knocks on your door, gives you a little phone call, or whether your job gets called up and told what you're saying or what you're doing, those are consequences. Now, I don't recommend anyone doxing anybody at all. That I don't care if these people are super vile. I don't care how much they have with hate in their heart. Don't dox them. Don't stoop to that low level. Don't make threatening comments towards anyone. Don't be facetious or malicious or defacing in any sort of way, shape, or form. That can get you consequences for your action. And again, what these people are doing that are exposing these people that are saying these vile things about Charlie and his family is not doxing. That's just showing that these people need to be taken care of by having a phone call to their employer to let their employer know that they are saying certain things or acting or doing certain things that they should not be legally doing or saying or acting on. That's not wrong, but it can get bad if you do it too many times. So if you get a hold of somebody that is doing this, the best thing to do is report it to the FBI. Go to IC3.com and report it. Because the FBI will take care of it. The FBI, again, takes these things seriously. They don't think of this as a joke. They don't think, ha ha ha, somebody else is saying this and it's a bubble of laughter. They take it seriously, folks. So don't dox anyone. If you're going to report or have somebody exposed, just make sure that you don't have any personal information out there, but only where they work. And yes, only call one time and that's it. Let them know. If they don't answer, report them to the Better Business Bureau or report them to the FBI. Don't harass people. You don't want to start going into harassment. That can cause you legality issues. Again, we are not a lawyer, nor do we play one, or claim to be one, the same as a judge or FBI entity. We don't claim to be one or pretend to be one or whatever. We work with people that know these things very all too well. And that's why it's important that when you are online, you keep yourself safe. You know to keep yourself safe. Because these people that are out there that are saying these things to Charlie could do it to anyone. And you don't want that to happen to you or your family, your friends, your neighbors, your loved ones. So stay safe. And remember, if anyone sees anything, any suspicious activity, online, offline, call the police or report it to the FBI. Thank you, guys.